Now we are going to develop the login functionality for all of our registered users, either admin or author. So let's start working in login.php file. Let's copy this registration form from registration.php page. Just put a heading login and paste the whole form here. Now we need only username and password fields here and submit. Let's just change the value to login and name to login as well. Now we need to process this login form when submitted. So here within these PHP tags, we'll check if the form has been submitted, then we'll process further and then we'll perform all the functionality on these two fields as we did for registration process. Let's copy this whole functionality from registration.php page and copy in this login.php file. Now we can remove unnecessary field processing from here. Let's remove this name process, email, password and terms, as we don't have these in our login form. If we don't remove these, we'll definitely get error. In this if condition, just remove all of this and here we'll put the login functionality, and let's just remove this if else that is following the query execution. So here if the form has been submitted correctly, we'll get 0 count from errors array and only then this execution area will work. So here we need to check and verify the username and password given by the visitor. Now let's write a query which will match the credentials supplied by the user with the stored credentials. If these will match, we shall log in this user, otherwise we'll show the error message. As we need to work with sanitize function as well as we want to run the query for database, let's require all the files we need. So require underscore once the sanitize file as well as require underscore once the connection file. Now let's complete the query. Select, and we need two things here, username and password from users, where username equals $username and password equals $password. And let's just enclose both of these within single quotes, as both of these have type varchar. Let's put this query in a variable $QR. Here let's use a MySQL function, MySQL underscore num underscore rows. This function counts and returns how many records were found as a result of query we supplied to it. So if the result of this function is greater than 0, then obviously it means the credentials, username and password supplied by the user matched with one of the stored records. So if this happens, we'll log in this user in. Otherwise, we'll show the error message. So let's put this line of code within an if statement, and if this happens, right now we'll just show the message logged in. Otherwise, we'll show the message invalid login credential. This is just to check that everything is working fine. So let's go to the login.php page in browser and give the credential of our stored user. Click login and it's displaying us an error. Let's check this out what the problem is, and of course we put an extra s here. Remove it and back to the browser again and give the right credentials and logged in message. Now let's give the wrong credentials and we get invalid login credentials message. Now if we leave any of the fields empty, we need to show the error message right above the form. Let's create the same functionality we created in registration.php file. If errors array has count value and greater than 0, only then we'll run a for each loop on $errors array and we'll get each value as $error variable. And finally let's just echo $error and just put a br tag at the end of each error. Let's now check this functionality in browser. Put a dummy username and leave the password field empty. Click login button and it shows us the error message. Let's remove username and supply password and it again shows us error message. Now here at this point we'll create the login functionality and we'll redirect our logged in user to control panel main page, that is our index.php. We can use header function here and within double quotes we'll give location and the exact path to the file index.php. In the index.php, just to differentiate it from other pages, let's give a heading, Welcome to Control Panel. Now let's get back to the browser and give the correct credentials, and here we go. You can see we have been sent to the index.php page, and you can see the welcome message here. This is how we redirect our users from one page to another depending on the credentials. Now let's go to the CRUD database, to our users table, and here we have a field which was to keep users pending or active. When this field will have one for a record, that user will not be able to log in and will not have the access to his control panel. Only the user having 2 in this field will be redirected to his control panel. So let's append our code a bit to get this functionality. And is_active equals 2. So this is all. This is the only thing we need to append in the query. So this query will select only the record where username and password match the recorded credentials, as well as is_active equals 2. Rest of all is same. Now let's go back to the browser, and on this login page put the correct credentials and that are stored in DB. But you can see when we click login, it's showing us message of invalid credentials. Now let's go to the users table again, and let's make this 2 that we'll use for active users or to activate users. Now this user must be redirected to his control panel. Let's go to the login page and give the correct credentials again, and this time you can see the user has been redirected to control panel.